Battlefield 6 is finally coming. DICE is developing this game, and we got some very exciting hands-on gameplay experience and information, which is currently played with the developers by EA CEO Andrew Wilson. Now, everything we heard so far, it seems very interesting in terms of what the next Battlefield game is going to turn out to be. But first, let's take a look at all the statements that we've got from the upcoming Battlefield game after the hands-on experience, after playing the full multiplayer with the development team. We've got this official statement posted by Geoff Keighley, the man himself, where he stated that in today's earnings call, EA CEO Andrew Wilson says that he has been playing the next Battlefield game with the development team, and it will be a tremendous live service. Now, we got to keep this in mind that the CEO has mentioned that this upcoming Battlefield game is also going to be a tremendous live service game. Now, a lot of people in the community are disappointed for whatever reason, and to be honest, I don't really understand the reason why. If you go down here and take a look at some of the comment section, you can say that people are really mad that this game is actually a live service. Like as if this game was not a live service before and EA is suddenly just trying to do something completely out of the box here. But in reality, that's not even the case. Battlefield games ever since Battlefield 2 has always been a live service game, and live service basically means that the game is going to be getting a post-launch content that is going to be continued for a very long time. So in order to continue this post-launch content, the developers are of course going to be adding in some microtransactions where they're going to be selling you a bunch of skin as well as more weapons and a lot of stuff like that inside the game, which sometimes turns out to be game breaking. But then I guess EA has learned from their mistakes in terms of what they've done with Battlefield 2042. They've actually improved that game in the later days. But in my opinion, I think live service is actually pretty good idea for having a long-term investment into this one game where you can keep playing the game for at least 2 or 3 years to go on with a bunch of content and DLCs and expansions and so many things that DICE could be developing after the game releases. Now that is of course something I would really look forward to when it comes to a multiplayer game that I'm going to be dedicating all of my time into. And what's interesting is that PC Gamers reported that EA CEO has been mentioning that they've learned some valuable lessons so that the next Battlefield is going to be another tremendous live service, and they're not going to be making the same mistakes that they made with Battlefield 2042 as well as Battlefield 5 and plenty other games. And to be honest, in my opinion, man, I have played so many first-person shooter games, including Call of Duty and Battlefield and all the games that is out there so far, which were some of the big names when it comes to FPS shooters in general. Now, my personal favorite was always Call of Duty because I just love the fast-paced shooting and multiplayer elements in the game. You just want to jump into the game and get as much kills as possible. You have a really good time playing each game for probably like 10 or 15 minutes, and that's pretty much it. Each round was extremely fun, and that's something I absolutely loved. And I kid you not, I was someone that absolutely hated Battlefield genre because the game was very slow-paced, and that's something I felt in the beginning. But then later on, my friends wanted me to go ahead and try out Battlefield for the very first time. So I wanted to go ahead and give Battlefield 1 a shot, because as far as what I've seen from the trailers, Call of Duty failed that year, especially when Battlefield 1 was released, and that actually got my eyes all the way onto Battlefield more than Call of Duty. So once I started playing Battlefield 1, and my god, I've got to say, there is a reason why every session of the game is slow-paced, and that's probably because the game is completely random and anything could happen in Battlefield, and that's what makes this game completely special. Because up until this point, my favorite Battlefield games of all time has always been Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5. Now that's probably because of the entire setting of the game. I know Bad Company was amazing, as well as Battlefield 4 was incredible game. I've played both of those games, but at the same time, Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5 have always been this game that I've been gathering up so much memories playing with my friends, and it's been almost 4 years since I played Battlefield 5, and I still till this day remember one of the best sessions that I had in the game where our entire squad had to take up all the tanks that's available in the game and try to capture one particular point. And the amount of memories we made and the things that we did in that particular game is something that really cherishes my memories when I think about playing Battlefield games. It always reminds me of me and my friends just jumping in, trying to dogfight in the air, and we used to assist each other. One being as a tanker, there's going to be shooting down the enemy planes that's chasing my friends' planes, and man, all of these different things that happens in Battlefield is especially what makes this game absolutely incredible. So I'm really curious to see what EA is developing in terms of the next Battlefield game. I really did not like the idea of Battlefield 2042, and that's probably because the game kind of went a little bit too futuristic in my opinion, and it was more chaotic rather than the old school Battlefields that I played before. But over time, it seems like DICE did try to, catch up the phase, and they tried to revive the game once again back to its glory, but usually, players left the game, and the game is now filled with a bunch of bots and whatnot. So I'm really not into Battlefield 2042 at this point, but I would just love the next Battlefield game to be one of the best games that has been ever created. I want the next Battlefield game to be as good as Battlefield 1, which was one of my all-time favorite when it comes to Battlefield games, and some of the most memorable, cherishable memories that I have in an FPS shooter is, of course, going to be Battlefield 1. Now, it's really good to see that some people in the community actually do understand the idea of a live service, and at least someone is standing up to this live service aspect that's going on. As you can see, Shinobi on Twitter says that despite mishaps in the past, I'm still excited for the next Battlefield. I just want it to be a big return to the form. Give me Battlefield 4 and Bad Company 2's Love Child, the modern, expansive maps with tight design, destruction, squad tactics encouraged, and all of that stuff. And I honestly cannot agree more than this, because as Shinobi says, I really want to see the next Battlefield game either take place in the modern generation of warfare, or they could even try something completely different that they've never tried before, and they could just make the entire game revolve around the Vietnam Wars, which would be an amazing setting as well. So I would love to see what they're going to be working out. And for someone, I absolutely did not like Battlefield 2042. I don't like the futuristic crap being added into FPS games. I'm not a huge fan of that. I really hated those things in Call of Duty. I want to keep things as realistic and as modern day as possible, rather than just going too much into advanced warfare. Or if not, I would love to go back to the histories and explore what really happened in the histories, and have those old school guns and take the game in a much more slower phase. So that's something I would love to see in the next Battlefield game. And what's interesting is that it seems like Battlefield is completely ready, and most probably the game is going to be releasing this year as a competition for the next Call of Duty Black Ops game that is set to be releasing. It's one of those games that recently got leaked that the next Call of Duty game is also going to be another Black Ops game, which is going to be set in a futuristic era, which I don't know if that's going to turn out to be good or not, but I guess Battlefield is finally back. They're going to be competing with Call of Duty this year, so they better do good in terms of what they're cooking. Now, one thing I'm really curious to see is what the setting of the game is going to be like, and that's the biggest hit or miss for me in my opinion. I don't want to see a futuristic game, and if it turns out to be a game that's set in history or a modern day warfare, I'm all in. I'm going to be playing this game. I'm going to be covering a lot of content for this game, and of course I will keep you guys updated if we get any further on information about the upcoming Battlefield game. So yeah, with that being said, if you guys did enjoy this video, please drop a like and also leave your feedbacks in the comments. And if you're looking for a YouTube channel that covers all the latest and the greatest information, news, updates, leaks, and everything that you guys need about upcoming open world games as well as AAA titles like these that I covered today, make sure to go ahead, subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free of cost. You don't have to pay a dime. At the same time, I will keep you guys updated with all the latest gaming news. Now, with that being said, hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on tomorrow's video. Until then, take it easy, fams, and goodbye.